So when you started in the, because you were in the banking, it was the banking side.
Yes.
First, okay. Did you know that? Did you plan to stay that course, or did you know that was going to transition into actually full on insurance, final expense, all those things? Like, what did you initially think you were doing?
I thought I was going to be a career banker. So I was like, I can dig this. I can be a banker. This is cool. You dress up every day. You're professional, yeah. And banking introduced me to so many aspects of the financial industry. So I was doing business to business. Yes. Got my Series 6 and 63. So I was working with financial advisors. I started to help clients with their estates and trusts. And so it really opened up my eyes. And then I found that I became the banker for the senior population. So I was in a very large bank that had, it was very diverse. So we had what we used to call old money and new money. It was a combination of everything, clients from many different backgrounds. But I found that the seniors gravitated towards me. And they would wait, and there were other bankers available, and they would wait just to see me. And so I started to realize that's a niche that I didn't realize was there. This is who I'm supposed to serve. It's the senior population. And so they started asking, about life insurance and Medicare. And that's when the wheels started to turn that, maybe I could do this for myself.
Yes. I think it's interesting that you started in the banking world, or the banking side of financial services, because it's not really spoken about how interconnected insurance and banking really are. I mean, insurance companies are really banks when it's all said and done, right? I mean, they're collecting that premium. They're investing. They're doing the exact same thing that the bank would do, right? They're investing that money, and except I guess the bank isn't indemnifying you, I guess, against a loss.
Definitely not.
Right. But the premise is kind of the same, So how did that really come to fruition for you? So you're working with the seniors. You had the thought. Did you go out and seek a company? Did someone come in and speak with you? Like, how did that transition happen for you?
Yeah, so I realized, and that's a great question, Rod. I realized I didn't have any experience in being independent. So I literally took a minority small business entrepreneur class at night. I was taking this class, it was every week, one night a week. And my son was young at the time. And so my husband was really involved. And he said, you know what, if you want to take this entrepreneurial course, go ahead and take it. I'll take care of our son while you do that. And I did that for several weeks and ended up getting a certificate. I was able to get a small business loan to start Carrington Insurance. And so that happened in 2011. And what that did was it gave me, I guess how I should put this is it gave me that confidence that, I have what it takes. They accepted my business proposal. They thought it was a great opportunity. And I went and branched off on my own. So I literally left the bank and said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell insurance.
Wow. Man, oftentimes people have to be convinced,
Yes.
But you say, hey, I'm gonna jump off and pursue this. What element, if there is one, of your background that you find kind of gave you that mentality, or that gumption to do that?
I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I could tell stories for countless hours about how many businesses I've started.
Yes.
I'm glad my husband's not in the room because I've done everything. As you know, from previous, in college, I was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners.
Nice.
So I've done every type of job. I've felt like, what, I can do this. I can make money. There's business owners out here that are making it happen. And a lot of those endeavors failed. And they simply failed because I didn't have a proper plan in place.
Yeah.
I was a go-getter. I could get this done. I can do anything. But if you don't have a plan in place, failing the plan is planning to fail.
That's it.
So a lot of those endeavors did not work. And I needed to have those experiences to equip me for the future. Even when I started Carrington Insurance back in 2011, that was not as successful as I anticipated. And so I ended up going back to the workforce briefly, but by doing so, that equipped me with the skills, the leadership abilities to actually be successful in the space that we're in now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go back, because you mentioned, you entrepreneurial minded early on, which is important for someone who is going to get into the industry, particularly if they're going to take a sales track, or they're going to take, any type of client facing, opportunity. They got to be able to connect with people, got to be able to engage and build relationships. Going back to your college period, Kirby vacuums, other things that you've experienced, all of those failures potentially, but really lessons, right? Because those were the building blocks that kind of brought you to, who you are today. I tell my son, who is 19, I say, look, if you find an opportunity that's 100%, if it's 100% commission, or, you got to go out there and kind of fall on your face a little bit, then go do it. Because you're going to build some character. What would you say to someone who is scared of things that may say, commission, or, having to go out and kind of, what they say, go out and hunt, so to speak?
I love that question, Rod. I have a mentality that you eat what you kill.
Eat what you kill, yeah.
So you have to step out on faith. If you're not willing to bet on yourself, who are you willing to bet on?
Yeah.
So even with selling Kirby's, I have to tell you this funny story about the Kirby vacuum cleaners. I literally took that job because I needed money for an apartment in college. And I thought, it was one of those ads in the paper that said, work from home, make $1,000 a day. You've seen those ads.
Hey, look, you did Kirby, I did Cutco knives. So I get it. Right?
You understand me. We're on the same page. And so I went to the orientation. This was during the summer break between I think it was my sophomore and junior year in college. And it was an interest meeting, and everybody in there looked like they were a college student. And they literally put us in a white van. It was kind of scary, actually. Took us to a neighborhood, and they said, go to the houses that have the most junk in the yard. They're going to buy the vacuums. So I put a smile on my face. I put my beauty pageant, mentality on, and went to the door and smiled and see if they let me in the house. And I sold every single Kirby vacuum in every house, and literally made $6,000 in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I quit. That was my mentality at the time. I was in college. I was like, I only had to work for 2 weeks, and I made all the money I needed to make. And the owner of the company came to me and said, I want to make you one of my area managers. And I was like, I'm like 19. I'm really not interested in being an area manager for Kirby Vacuum. But thinking about that now, as opposed to back then, what kind of opportunity could that have given me if my mentality was a little bit different?
Right. So yeah, important to important to just impart that, into the young minds, and I'm glad that you mentioned that for anybody who is listening, because, some of our listeners, oftentimes have been, demographics that, are kind of in transitional periods, either young people determining what they're going to do. Maybe they've had exposure to something else that's exciting and sexy on the internet, like crypto or Forex or something like that right now. And maybe they're just thinking like, sure, well, I'll give it a listen. But you saying that really kind of highlights, hey, look, broaden your horizons of what the capabilities are for right now, because what you do then is going to create, who you are in the future. And you're right. There's individuals in the insurance industry who started at 18, 19 years old, and they're retiring at 30, or at least able to. They're probably not retiring, but they're able to retire, at 30. So it really does make a difference kind of coming in early. So